Okay, thank you for joining again. Before I get on with the Khan family stories, we went on the first level, Don's house, and it's natural that we at least tell one Don story. And Don was one of those who had a passport which could take him to Mehrazad at any time. He had that passport with him, very special passport. You could just walk into Mehrazad. So one of these times that he was called by Baba, he was with Baba, and for once he feels that Baba is not himself with him. You know, as he used to be with Don, very jovial, very caring, very outpouring with Don. This time he was, let's say, kind of reserved, and Don felt that there's something missing. Why is Baba not so kind of happy with me, responding to me as if I don't exist in the Mehrazad Mandli Hall? That kind of a feeling he got. He couldn't ask Baba directly, so he uses Herachankar's route. And he's telling Herachankar, I'm not very happy this time. Baba is not happy with me. Something I may have done, Baba is not very happy with me. So naturally, Herachankar tells Baba that this is what Don said. Baba said, so the next time they are in Mehrazad Hall, Baba starts talking to Don, and by and by he says, how's mom? Yes, how's mom? And Don says, Baba, my mom is gone. She's no more. Baba says, she's no more. You've been sitting with me for the past 3 days. You don't tell me that your mom is no more. Don says, Baba, you are God. I know for sure that you are God. What's that? You knew beforehand that she would pass on. So I didn't tell you, Baba. Baba said, no, that's not it. I'm all-knowing, yet you need to tell me. You should have come on the first day when you came and met me. You should have told me that, Baba, my mom's gone, she's with you or whatever. You should have told me. So, effectively, this is a lesson for all of us. Whether present here or not, we need to talk to Baba. We need to tell Baba everything. At night, I do some prayers and I go all over. My final place is Baba's bedroom. I sit with him and I talk to him. I tell him about the day's proceedings, how my life went. I tell him everything, the good, the bad, even the ugly. Because if I know truly that he is what he is, that he is all-knowing, then I would only be kidding myself if I didn't tell him the ugly part. So I tell him that as well. And Baba listens. So when we talk, the essence is, why I'm driving this is, we all need to talk to him. We all need to talk to him, to tell him our concerns, our happiness, our sadness. We need to share with him. If he is what Hilla calls him, Big Daddy, then if he's your Big Daddy, what do we do? With our fathers, mothers, what did we do? We came from school, we came from college, and we told him everything, right? They had car boxed me and whatever. So, he's your daddy. If he's your daddy, then share with him. Tell him what happened through the day. If you're doing after 3 days, never mind, tell him what happened in those intervening days. But keep the channel open. Keep the channel open. Keep talking to Baba. So that's in a sense. Once, as I said, mostly I would meet Baba in the Mandli room or in the central room, central hall. But once Mirwan, that is Rodavishri's son, and myself, we were called in the afternoon. And we were called in the afternoon and we are direct to go to the left. Now, I'm wondering what's there. why we directed to go to the left. And you go inside and I realized that this is Baba's bedroom. That was Baba's bedroom. And Mehran and I entered the room. A few of the men, only men, few of the men are seated there. Baba is sleeping on the cot, on his bed, and his sadra was pulled up. His pyjama or pant, whatever you call it, was pulled down a bit, and his hip, he was on his side. His hip was exposed, and Dr. Goher was giving him that ultraviolet rays, that bulb. And I've taken it for my back, and I know after a while it becomes quite overbearing. It becomes quite painful, really painful. So she was giving, because Baba had injured his hip, we all know that in accidents. So this gives relief to your bones or to your muscles or whatever. And after a while Baba says, can you put it off please, can you put it off, it's hurting me. And Goher, being a physician, a doctor, she says, Baba, 2 minutes more. Just give it 2 minutes. So 2 minutes passes and Baba says, can we stop it now? Enough. And she says, Baba, 1 more minute, and I put it off. So another minute or two, then Baba does like this and she switches off the light is taken away, and then Adi and Rodadubas's son, Mehran was reading newspaper to Baba. And this is the first time I'm seeing these aspects of Baba's life. And what he would do is, how the newspaper was read to Baba. The headline is read. And the headline is read, and Baba says, means, okay, go on. So a couple of paragraphs in that headline in that article is read, and after a while Baba says, means go on, another one. So goes to another headline, the third headline, read it. So he reads maybe through the article or just 1 or 2 paragraphs, and Baba says, move on. So this, likewise, the papers keep turning, and the last page was sports. In those days, our last page was dedicated only to the sports. And Baba was, all of you know, quite interested in games and sports and whatever. In his young days, he himself took part in a lot of games. So, and then Mehran is reading the articles, and that page took the longest time because Baba loved sports. So that's how the paper is read, and then it's put away. And the third aspect I saw was, Jal was Baba's one of the young brothers, the unmarried one. He was a born joker. Joker in the sense to narrate jokes. I can't do for nuts. I just can't call out a joke, but he was very good at it. He and the other guy was Ilcha. Ilcha was from one of the hill areas. He would come to Baba, he was there. So there's this Jal on one side, Ilcha on the other side. And alternately they are telling jokes to Baba. And mostly Parsi jokes, Baba jokes. And you have to just look at their face and you start laughing. Ilcha had that big typical Parsi nose, and his face was good enough to make you laugh. So these two guys are taking turns one after the other, making Baba laugh, everyone laughing, and at times Baba would hold one hand on his mouth so that he wouldn't break his silence, other on his tummy. How Baba would turn pink, and holding his tummy. And we had great fun, such beautiful times we had. And then after a while we went. So this was very special for me because I got to see the 3 aspects of Baba's life which I hitherto never saw, never enjoyed. So I was happy to have had that afternoon with you in that room. Then a couple of mom's story. Our father had died, he had passed on. But what would happen is, in front of Baba, someone would come crying to Baba saying, my husband is no more, he moved on, or my wife is no more, or my child is no more. And they would start crying. And so Baba would say, or some telegram would come saying that I lost my wife, etc. And I'm very depressed and please help, etc. So the stock answer would be, Baba would say, why do you have to cry? Why do you have to worry about it? He's with me, he has come to me. He is so happy with me. There's no need for you to feel upset. He's better than what he was. There's no need for you to be upset about it. So my father had died much before we ever got to hear of Meher Baba's name. He died much early. And so he had no connect, spiritually he had no connect with Meher Baba. And mom must have thought that Meher Baba never got to hear of Firoz, my dad's name. So she's at home in Mumbai. She's at home in front of Baba's frame. And she's mentally disturbed, agitated, that Firoz never got chance to either meet Baba or know of Meher Baba. Could he have gone to Baba? Baba always said that he has come to me, she has come to me, but could Firoz have gone to Baba? Did he go to Baba? And as she is upset with herself, she sees a vision. Baba's hand comes out from the frame. There was a small frame of my dad next to Baba's frame. He picks up the frame, my dad's frame, and he puts it back. She sees that vision of taking dad's frame, Baba putting on his heart, whatever, and putting it back. So that answers my mom's question. And my son's name is also Firoz, and I'm more than convinced that it is the same soul who kind of missed out at physical level, who kind of missed out being with Meher Baba. The same soul has come as my son, and he's a devout Babalawa. So effectively, the whole family met Baba. It's not that only one of them missed Baba. And he couldn't have missed because it is because of his death, because he passed on, Mom could have come to Baba, and we could have come to Baba. If my dad was alive, there was no way we could have ever come to Baba. So it was his sacrifice, his physical sacrifice, but his soul made up, coming to Baba in shape of my son. So that's that. We are Parsi Zoroastrians, and being Zoroastrians, being Zoroastrians, we also celebrate Nowruz. Nowruz is the spring equinox, 21st of March, the onset of spring. It is celebrated in a big way in the West Asia, Middle East, India, not necessarily only Parsis, the Punjabis, Vaishakhi, etc. is centered on, very close to it, even in South India, close to it, celebrating spring. And so that's it. So we Zoroastrians, we also celebrate in a way. The Iranis do it in a very big way. They set a table for much longer period, a larger table. But we Parsis do it in a small way. So my mom had made a faluda. It's a sweet drink with sharbat and milk and dollop of ice cream or cream, vermicelli, etc. Makes a cool, refreshing drink. So she put a glass of faluda in front of Baba, then dry fruits, a bowl of dry fruits, and watermelon, chopped watermelon. So these three things she puts in front of Baba, and she says, Baba, please enjoy, please have it, please take it. And she seated there, and she must have said it right from here, and sure enough, Baba's hand comes out from the frame. He picks up that glass of faluda, he takes it to his mouth, he puts it back, grabs a handful of dry fruits, and puts it here. That's it. She's very happy, she's ecstatic that what she saw. Baba enjoying the faluda, the dry fruits, but he didn't take the chopped watermelons. And mom's kind of disturbed that why did he not enjoy the watermelons. So when she picked them up, picked the bowls and took them to the kitchen, she realized that she had not removed the seeds from the watermelon. So where would Baba spit the seeds from the fruit? So she realized the mistake, said, sorry Baba, I'm sorry. And that's that. So this is another story. Now we come back to Guru Prasad. At Guru Prasad, we played cards with Baba. And the name of the game was La Risk. La, L-A-La, R-I-S-Q-U-E. Means the risk. It's French for the risk. La Risk. So we played La Risk with Baba. And how did it go? The gents are there, the ladies are there. So after a while, small tete-a-tete, the ladies are told to go to the women's side, join the women monthly and have a good time with the women monthly. The idea is the women monthly are sitting alone, so the women can go and just chat with them, joke with them, talk to them. And these ladies also get chance to meet the women monthly and talk to them. So it's win-win for both the ladies, both the sides. So the ladies are gone and only the men are left in the room, and we make a kind of a horseshoe circle, because Baba is seated on his chair, on his gari, and we make kind of a horseshoe and we sit, and the deck of cards is pulled out. There are two jokers in one deck. One joker is set aside, so there's only one set of cards and one joker inside. And we are seated. Now you need two teams to play this game, large card game. So Baba and every alternate person seated is, let's say, team A. It wasn't called team A, but to make it simple for you, Baba and every alternate person is team A, and the first guy and the alternate guy next till the end is team B. So you need to have even number. So if there was an odd number, one of the monthly would be there, so he will ease out from the horseshoe and he will sit at the back, at the wall. So we are now even number, two teams, automatically two teams are made, the cards are taken out. Now you need someone to shuffle the cards, to give the cards, to pick up the cards from the carpet. So Baba needed some two young guys to do this job. So Saurabh and Rustam, who were young guys, they would sit on either side of Baba. If they were not around, if Saurabh and Rustam were not around, Merwan Mistry, Rodante's son, would sit on his left, and GB Khan would sit on his right. And there I could have touched Baba's sadra very easily. Just sitting there, I was 1 foot away from Baba, just 1 foot away. So that's it. So once the things are set, we get up, two of us, and I was good at shuffling cards. So I would shuffle cards, split into two, give half the deck to Merwan, half the deck to myself. And either Merwan would starting with Baba and going this way, or I would start giving to Baba and moving this way. So we kind of give cards to everyone. People are seated on the carpet, men. And once I give cards to Baba, and I'm there, I haven't moved yet. Baba looks at the cards and says, "Did you have a bath today?" I said, "Yes, Baba, I had a bath." I must have given him some 2, 4, 3.
Not a premium fee.
Not good cards.
Good card, yeah.
So Baba throws cards on the carpet. In the meantime, Merwan has given to a few. So the moment Baba throws cards on the carpet means
It's over.
it's over. The game is over. So everyone throws cards on the carpet. So Merwan and I, we are on our fours now, collecting the cards. And yeah, and I remember Nariman Dadachandji. I'm 20, he's 50 or 60. He's telling me, Jimmy, you don't know how to give cards to Baba. This is how you give cards. So I can't say anything. So here I am shuffling cards. So the others said, come on Jimmy, shuffle cards better, shuffle cards better. So I'm shuffling cards. And then again half to Merwan, half me. Then I give to Baba again. And then let's see this time. And okay, get on with the game. So we get on.
Did he cheat?
It's in my mouth that he was. Once I was sitting and he looked at his cards and said, who's got a joker? And I said, yes Baba, I have the joker. And I'm not in his team, money. He's in A team, I'm in B team, naturally, next team. So he said, so I get up and I come here and Baba takes the joker from me. He gives me some dirty card. I come and take my seat. Then in India, the ace of spade is the highest. Here it's some other ace, but in ace of spade in India we consider as the highest card. So he would ask, who's got the ace of spade? And suppose if I said yes, then it's okay. But if someone from A team, that is Baba's team, said that Baba, I got ace of spade, Baba would throw his cards on the carpet because he's got a joker, his teammate has ace of spade.
So they won.
The team has won. Team has won. No need to play and waste time and energy. And we are again on our phones. So this would go on. Now you have to, in this Laris, you have to declare trumps. Someone has to call out trumps, and that man, whoever says hearts or spade or whatever, then he has to give a call that will make two hands. Suppose he says, Papa, I'll make two hands. So there can't be hands more than two hands. So he says, okay, you call out the trump. This is hearts. So the game starts. The game starts. And there's a winning team and there's a losing team, right? Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. So for the losing team, there has to be some punishment, whatever else you may call it. The losers have to pay for it, for losing the game. So what is it? You have to rub your nose on the carpet. That is the penance you have to do. Rubbing your nose on the carpet. So you bend down and the losing team rubs nose on the carpet. And it's called giso. Giso means to rub. In Hindi or Gujarati, Parsi Gujarati, giso means to rub. Means, so the winners are all gaga, they are in their glee, they are very happy that they are winners. Baba's team has won and we have lost. So they will all shout giso, giso, and they are laughing. And I invariably landed in team B, losing team. So I would giso my nose till it turns red. So this went on. Now let's understand the giso aspect, the rubbing the nose aspect. We have our sanskaras, we gather sanskaras through ages, we gather good sanskaras and we gather bad sanskaras. It keeps going on, the seesaw goes on. And we have to, for us to go further in our spiritual life, we have to erase our evil sanskaras, we have to balance them. We have a load of bad sanskaras, the negative sanskaras. So by doing this, by rubbing your nose, you are rubbing off your sanskaras. This is not my interpretation, it's there in the books. You are rubbing off your evil sanskaras by rubbing your... It's only a characteristic, but effectively you are rubbing your sanskaras. Now, in your regular life, how do you rub your sanskara? Your evil sanskaras, your bad sanskaras. Either you balance them with good sanskaras, or you pay for it very difficultly. You go through hell in life. That's how you kind of erase your evil, bad sanskaras, evil sanskaras. That is in the outside life. Here at Guru Prasad, Baba is laughing, Baba is in a jolly good mood, Everybody else, even the losing team is laughing, giggling, everybody having good time, absolutely good time. That is the time you just have to do is rub your nose and you erase your negative sanskara. So that's the plus point of sitting with Meher Baba and enjoying yourself and at the same time rubbing your sanskara negative.
So it's
That can't be-
better to be in the losing team.
Yes.
Yes.
So there was this Rhoda auntie's father, Navroji. Navroji's grandson, that is Meherwan, he observed that his grandpa always sat in team B. So he's telling Grandpa, why do you always end up sitting in team B? Why don't you sit in team A? And Grandpa explained to the grandson, the child, you don't know what I'm doing. I'm purposely sitting in team B so that I rub my sanskara. Child didn't know. He was a teenager, he didn't know. So the grandpa explained to him that this is the best way one can do it. And the story goes that there was one Rao or someone who would, though if he seated in team B, he would refuse to rub his nose. For whatever, obstinate. So there's this Rustam and Sora. They were tough guys, they were young teenagers, they were bulky and strong. So the story says that they were seated on either side of this Rao. And he has lost, he's not rubbing his nose. So this young burly guy got hold of his neck from either side, pushing it to the ground, and both of them are I was having great time, this poor guy, and everybody is laughing and everybody is having great time. So this is it. Now, let's come back to largest. Now, someone might ask who is not initiated into this spirituality and to Meher Baba, he would say, did Meher Baba come to do universal work that you are talking about? Or did he come to play games and card games? So what's going on? So the essence is, did he entertain himself through this card game, or did he do some work, or what is it? The idea is, yes, he entertained himself because he had so much of burden of universal work on his head. That's part A. And part B is, he is doing his spiritual work. Meher Baba was doing his spiritual work through this card game. And how did it happen? 20 of us, 24 of us, 30 of us, we are seated here, we are focused, our energy is centralized in the center, centralized focused energy. Baba is using, and we are dead to the world. Naturally, when you play cards, whatever happens outside, you are not even aware. All your worries and your tensions and pressures are gone because you are so immersed in the card game. It happens everywhere. So we are 20 of us, 30 of us, we are focused on the card game. And it is this focused energy that Baba takes advantage of. He does his work through this energy. He does his work through this energy. And indirectly therefore, we are helping Baba in his work. So if we are helping Baba in his work, it is common sense therefore that we are also helped by helping him to do his work. Now someone here might say, but if he was omnipresent and omnipotent, why did he need guys like you to help him for his work? He can do it on his own steam. Of course he can do it on his own steam, but he kind of
give opportunity.
Yeah, he gave us an opportunity, good word, for us to help him with his work. So we also benefited through this. I look at it this way, that this is at the kind of, if I'm using the right word, helping him at the lowest level. Let's go to one level higher. In Nagar there was this Saros theatre. Baba would send his monthly to the theatre, to the women monthly, men monthly, to go to the theatre and enjoy the movie. But there were times when he also went to the movie. And he sat in the theater. There are 150, 200, small theater in Nagar, small town, 150, 200 people enjoying the movie. Now same thing happens, but at one step higher. 200 people are focused on the silver screen. Now when you go to a movie for 1.5 hours, do you ever think of your house or your burden or your ailments or your sickness or your wife sickness or your children's sickness? You forget everything because you are so engrossed, you are so immersed on the screen, on the plot, you forget everything, the whole world. So everybody's focused energy is on the screen. Baba is using now 200 people, 250 people. Imagine their energy level vis-a-vis 30 people's energy level. So he uses that energy level to do his work at that level. So effectively, those who are seated in the theater, not knowing that the avatar is seated at the back, but they are also helped because they are being hit, they are also helped. And the moment his work is over, Baba will tap the guy on the right, left, whatever is bundling, and say, let's go. He didn't wait for the movie, for the whole of the movie. The moment his work is over, could be 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, he would walk off. His work is done, he would walk off. And once Eraj, there was something extremely interesting on the screen. And when Baba tapped him, Eraj uncle said, Baba, 1 minute. Baba, just 1 minute, 1 minute. The moment he did that, the lights went off. So that, and Eraj uncle is telling himself, why did I have to do that? Sorry?
Busy
Very. Baba was extremely impatient, extremely impatient, like a woman. Sorry. Okay, let's go to the third level. Third level, when Baba came to Mumbai, Bombay, in those days, Baba went to Bribond Stadium to watch a cricket match. Now this could be the highest level. These are the human beings helping him. There are 30,000 people seated in Bribond Stadium watching the match. Everybody's mind is focused on the crease in the center. What's happening? Baba using this 30,000 people's energy. Any idea? Versus 30 and 30,000. Imagine the charge. Imagine the energy. Baba is using this energy to do his work. The moment the work is over, Baba would be off. He's gone. So this is it. This is how it worked with Baba. Okay. How much time do we have?
More, please.
Roughly?
It's 3 o'clock.
Huh?
No, it's 3 o'clock.
It's 3. Okay. My mom used to cook food for Baba. My mom and Rhoda Mystery would cook food for Baba. Medwan and Mom would give me a list a night prior as to what to bring from the bazaar. And we had bikes, we had hired bikes in Pune. So very early morning I would wake up Medwan and the two of us at around 6:30 in the morning. We would go to the bazaar, bring everything that Mom has given the list, and we would bring. Then Mom and Rhoda Mystery would cook food for Baba, and one of us would go on the bike and deliver the food. So it could be me, my sister, one of the mystery boys, anyone. So my sister would go and deliver food for Baba. My mom had stitched satra for Baba, the satra that Baba used to wear. My mom had stitched the satra also for Baba. So Bepsi, her name is Bepsi, and Bepsi seated in the audience with Baba. And she's thinking, does Baba know that I bring food for him? And immediately Baba's asking, who brings food for me? My sister's hand went up. Yes, Baba, yes, Baba. The other time, my sister had gone to Guru Prasad, and Baba and Meramai, they were walking towards Baba's room through the central hall. So Pepsi wanted to see if Baba and Meramai were talking. So she was spying on them and she was walking behind them, and as Baba and Meramai went into the room, she is in the central hall, she's looking at them, whether they are talking. And sure enough, Meramai was doing some, or Baba was doing some gestures and Meramai was replying. So these are some small stories. We come to the 7 days on Mehrabad Hill. Baba dropped his body on 31st Jan 69, and this is my story. I've been fortunate enough to be on the hill for 7 days, all 7 days. What happened was, over the days, it was like what is called floating population. Over the days, people came and people went. They came just in the morning, had darshan, left in the afternoon, left in the evening. Some spent one night, left early morning next day. But I was there all 7 days. And this is how it worked. On 31st Jan, we are at Mumbai, we are in our house, and I'm writing my paper. And Mom was working for her brother's shop, and she would come home around 8 at night. But there's a doorbell at 7 in the evening, and Mom walks in. Sorry. And I'm wondering why she's come at 7 today. Normally it would be 8:30. And I'm writing my paper. And she came in and she said, "Well, Baba is no more." Now, I'm in my 20s. Nobody ever imagined that a day will come when Baba will be no more. Nobody ever imagined. To take you to the monthly, to the women monthly, the women monthly didn't think that he was gone. They thought he was in coma. It is recorded. It is recorded. The women monthly thought that Baba is in coma and he will rise again. Well, so here I am. I freeze with pen in my hand. And Mom says, "Jim, you didn't hear me? You didn't hear what I said?" I said, "Yes, Mama, I heard you." "What are you sitting? What are you doing? Get up and pack your bag. We are going." So Mom and I, we go to Mehrabad with 30-40 Parsi Baba lovers. So we are in the train on our way to Ahmednagar. And Jal Dastur requested the guard and the driver of the train if they could please stop the train at the tracks. You know where we cross the tracks?
Yeah.
If they could please, otherwise we would have had to go to Nagar. Nagar is beyond. Nagar is beyond. We would have had to go to Nagar. Then in those days there were no auto rickshaws, just tongas, and we were roughly 40 of us. So they obliged. The train was stopped. But before that, today I heard 10 o'clock. In the video it says that Baba's body was to be closed next day at 10. But we somehow were told that Baba's body would be closed at 8 in the morning. And we are in the train, we are way out of Nagar. We are away from. We have a lot of distance to cover before we could even reach Nagar. So all of us got together, we did Baba's Aarti in the train, thinking that Baba's body is now being closed. So we did the Aarti, then the train stops at the tracks. There are no platforms at the tracks. So bags and baggages, we throw the bags, bundles, baggages outside, the beddings. Then the boys and the men come down. The ladies are helped to come down. You know, it's quite a height. It's quite a height. So the ladies are in their 70s, 80s, 60s. They are helped to come down. And with bag and baggages in our hands, we walk up the hill, thinking surely that Baba's body is covered. But at the Sabha Mandap, as you go up on the right is at Sabha Mandap, Irach uncle is there, and people are trying to rush and go and meet him. He says, don't meet any monthly, don't meet anyone. Just go and have your darshan in the Samadhi. So that gave us the clue that it's still open, the body is still open. So as you enter Samadhi today, where we bend down, kneel down, bow down. The granite slab that you see, the granite, on the sides are tiles, but in the center the granite, that is where there were 5 to 6 steps,
Yeah.
heavy big steps. You must have seen in the movie.
Yeah.
6 steps. So we went down the steps, touched Baba's feet, and come back again. So all of us went down. We touched Baba's feet a couple of times the very first day. That's the 1st of Jan. And then the ladies, my mom and the other Parsi ladies, they stayed on the tin, in the tin shed, you know, the east room, west room, top, first floor. So all these ladies stayed there. I with other men stayed in the Manli or down the hill. So I remember staying there. And I had packed my bag with 1 change of clothes. Because next day Baba's body was to be covered. So with 1 change of clothes, I had gone. And so did everybody else. Just literally this smaller bag and a bedding, that's it. So I am there, and then the first day and the second day and the third day, people come and people go, and there are groups sitting all over. People are doing bhajans, ghazals, women are crying and wailing, and someone's fainting, and each one is trying to console the other. So this kind of hysterics and whatever else went on. We went inside, and we had the chance, those who were there, we had the chance of sitting in the samadhi on the upper layer, Now nobody is allowed to sit on the upper level. We sit at the ground level. But at the higher level, 3 on this side, 3 on this side, we would sit and fan Baba's body. Look, there would be flies around. So we would fan Baba's body. And my sister had come, she was also fanning Baba's body. And she saw Baba's eye open. Many have seen it, And she was a young girl, so she got scared. She dropped the fan there and then she ran away from Baba. She was kind of frightened, scared. I have seen Baba's eye flickering. I myself have seen it flickering.
Was it Diana or Betsy?
Pepsi, the
Betsy.
younger one. Yeah. So, and she didn't tell this to anyone for years. And when Mansari said something to this effect, then Pepsi told Mansari that I have seen this. So Mansari said, you are not the only one. The others have also seen Baba's eye open. So this is it. So for 6 days this goes on, and on the 7th day, that is on the 7th of Feb, there's an announcement that at noon, 1 or 2 or whatever it is, Baba's body will be closed. So today is the last day for the darshan. And everybody has darshan, and then it is announced that we are now closing Baba's body. Please stay back, go back, stay back. And now the darshan is over, the darshan is closed. We are now in the process of closing Baba's body. Now, human mind, how it works. Everyone wants to rush, everybody is rushing to the samadhi. And there are policemen, there are 3 policemen, I still remember, using their lathi, their baton, pushing people away from samadhi, and then, you know, that mayhem, that chaos, confusion, everything starts, everyone wanting to rush. And I realized that I've been happy, I've gone inside n number of times. Yeah, sorry, one aspect I forgot. Baba's body was in the center, and there were ice blocks around Baba, chunks of ice around Baba to keep Baba's body cool. Though it was Jan and Feb, in the afternoon it gets uncomfortable. And to preserve the body, we had put chunks of ice blocks. And there is this black salt, rock salt, whatever you call it, which if you put on ice, it preserves ice. The melting process is delayed. So Jal Dastu goes first. I follow him down the steps, and I have a tokri of black salt or rock salt, whatever you call it. So I'm holding this tokri, and Jal takes a handful each time, and he's walking, mind you, he's walking with his bare feet on ice blocks for a very long time he did it. And he would throw this to this rock salt on all over. And so then I would come up first after the tokri is over, and then he would come back. So this we did a number of times going down. So I had this fair share of mine. I realized that now it's over and I don't want a baton on my head. So I go to where the restroom was or where today's museum is, Baba's museum is. So there's this green door, there's a niche. So I sit in that niche with my eyes shut, thinking that enough is enough. And barely 2 minutes, 5 minutes that I've been sitting with my eyes shut. Mind you, it's chaos out there, but I'm at peace with myself, with my eyes shut, and I hear a voice. Meru comes over with a big basket of roses, and she sees me and she says, "Jimmy, get up, Jimmy, get up. These are Mera's roses to be put on Baba's body before it is covered. Before Baba's body is covered. These are from Mera, and they should be put last." So here I am with a tokri, right up to the frame there are roses, and I'm walking past from behind Baba's room, behind Baba's samadhi, saying, please move, everyone move, please move, Mera's flowers, people look this way and make room for me. So I wait through this multitude of people from behind, from next to Mera Mai samadhi. I come in front of Baba's samadhi, and there's this tokri of flowers with me. And Jal is, sure enough, he's there. So I tell Jal, I hope you have not closed Baba's body. These are Mera's flowers to be put on his body before it is closed. He says, okay, then he takes the roses from my hand, and he says, okay, get the earth. Get the earth? No. What is get the earth? Pick up the earth and get. Now what happened was, you have to remember that earlier Baba's samadhi, till 31st of Jan, Baba's samadhi was closed and leveled with tiles and all. It wasn't, that thing was not there. So Padrika car comes over, digs up the tiles, digs up the earth, maybe it's taken somewhere, put somewhere. And then on the last day when Baba's body is to be covered, this earth is brought from wherever it was and put where today Mera Mai's tomb is. So wonderful. Somehow I had not seen it, for whatever. So Jal gets upset with me. He is inside samadhi but facing outside. So he says, you can't see the earth, you can't see the earth. He can't see, but he's telling me I'm outside. You can't see the earth, come on, get going, get it. So there is this pan, in Marathi it's called gamela. There's this steel pan, and there's this spade. So I grab the pan and the spade. I fill the first pan. I give it to Jal. The moment I give it to him, he says, get the second one, get the next one. So the moment I try and get hold of the spade, there are so many people around, so many people. They kind of pounce on me, because they've seen me doing it. They kind of pounce on me, and the spade goes, the gamela goes, and it's okay, I've done my bit, yeah. So, and then I go back and sit where I belong. And what made my day was, rather my life, not my day, that the last flowers on Baba's body have gone from my hand. The first earth that's covering Baba's body has also gone from my hand. Now when you said covered Baba's body with earth, you've seen the film, so I don't have to tell you. The earth was not thrown on Baba's face or on Baba's body. There was a box. The box was put like a coffin, something like a coffin, but a makeshift kind of coffin. There was this lid. This box had a lid also. But before Baba's body was kept, first the lid was kept on the floor. The lid was kept on the lid, chadar and whatever, and then Baba's body was kept on that. So the lid is already down there, and then this box is overturned, and Baba's body is in the center, and the box is kept on it. So the earth was like covering coffin, something like covering coffin. So that's how it was covered. Now, there's another story to this, why Baba's body was kept open for 7 days. Why was it 7 days? And this you'll not read in any book. In none of Baba's books, including Lord Mayor, nobody has ever told this story. But I've heard this story not once, twice, thrice from a man called Darab Satta. There was a Satta family who lived at Nagar. The first three men who met Baba at the neem tree outside Mehrabad, three young boys walked. They were taking a long walk and they see this impressive man, young man sitting at the neem tree. And Baba beckons them, they come and they start chatting. This is pre-1925, much pre-1925. Baba was talking. So these three boys meet this young guy, and while chatting, Baba is asking, how many brothers are you? And they say, Baba, we have 5 brothers. So Baba said, from today you are 6. Means he himself included himself as one of the brothers. Effectively said, from today you are 6. So he's one of their brother's son, is Darab Satta. And let me give you a little brief about this Darab Satta in spiritual sense. In spiritual sense, Baba would be closeted with Darab Satta in a room. Mind you, Baba is not talking, Baba is silent. But Darab is actually talking. So Baba would ask him to go to the town, Ahmednagar town, pick up some saints, gurus, books. Even those days you could find them on the pavement all over India. And then they would be closeted in a room. And Baba would talk to this guy, Darab. Talk means at their level, which you and I will never ever understand. And talk to him and explain to him about everything about this saint which is in the book. So this went on. There's another story that Darab lived at Satta house or wherever. And Baba would normally go from Merazad to Mehrabad and come back. So you cut through the town, you cut through the city. So Baba would go to their house. One day he picks him up and says, you just sit down. And there was Ali Senior who was driving the car. And when they came from Merazad, Baba and Dr. Harry Kenmore was sitting with Baba. So Baba is asking Harry Kenmore to move front, and Darab sits with Baba at the back. And as they move on, after a while, Darab tells Baba, yes Baba, yes Baba. After a while, second time he says, yes Baba. And Ali said, what are you saying? Yes Baba, yes Baba. What are you saying? Yes Baba. As if Baba is talking to you. And Darab said, Baba is talking to me. It would be an insult to Baba if I didn't respond by saying yes Baba. And Harry Kenmore, who was visually handicapped, Harry said that I may be blind, but I'm not deaf. These are his words. Even if a pin drops, I can hear. And I don't hear Baba talking. So who's talking to you? So this is to give you an idea of this man's spiritual status. He was at that level when Baba himself would talk to him. Imagine Baba closeted in a room and talking to someone, or talking in a car like this. So he had that awakening, spiritual awakening. He was that. So Darab told me this story twice in his house, once at my house, that on the 1st of Feb 1969, 1st of Feb 1969, he is in Mumbai, he's still in Mumbai, 1st of Feb 1969, at 6 or 7 in the morning, he is having his bath. And there's a knock at the door from his cousin, bathroom door, and says, Darab, do you know? He knew that Darab doesn't know. Do you know that Meher Baba is no more? And Darab is shocked. He's shocked that Meher Baba is gone, he's no more. And there's this second knock at the door, and he says, do you know that the Bombay group left yesterday night? Bombay group left yesterday night? Not one told me that they are going to Ahmednagar, where they want to come, they want to join. Not a phone call to me. And the third knock, the last nail is, you know that Baba's body is to be closed at maybe 8, 9, whatever it is. At 7 he is there in a bathroom in Mumbai. And Baba's body is to be closed anytime soon. He was so close to Baba. He was so very close to Baba. And he would know everything about everything that happened at Mehrabad, Mehrazad. There would be circulars coming from Nagar, Adi's circulars. And one circular copy he would get from Bombay Center, and one circular copy he would get from his family in Nagar. So he was the most informed, let's say. And this guy who's most informed is in Mumbai at 7, 8 in the morning. So he starts crying. He's on the 7th level in a tall building. And he's weeping and saying, Baba, how could you go away? How could you do that, leaving me alone? And I will never get to see your face again. Is that? So he sees a vision that comes from the bathroom window. Baba comes in and says, there is no need for you to cry. I'm not closed yet. I will not be closed. You don't have to cry. You go there, you go to Mehrabad, and tell the Mandli to keep my body open for 7 days. And the Arab started howling again. He said, Baba, who am I? He was not a Mandli, right? There are these Mandli people. He was just a close Baba, but yet he was not a Mandli. And he said, Baba, why are you telling me this? Please tell the Mandli. They will laugh at me. Who am I to tell them? It's like ordering that Baba told me this. Baba said, you don't have to worry about it. Just go and give this, that these are my instructions. Go and tell them. So, well, the Arab goes to Ahmednagar maybe late in the evening, or maybe whenever he reaches, he meets Eraj first, naturally. And he tells Eraj what the instructions are. Now, in the Arab Satta's place, if there was anyone else who had said this, Eraj would have said, okay, I know you are disturbed, I know you are mentally disturbed, sit down, have a tea or drink some water, I know you have come all the way. But he would have, I won't use the word laughed it out, but he would have kind of brushed it aside. That Baba has given me order to tell you, the Mandli. Baba is not telling the Mandli, Baba is telling someone else. So he knew the Arab status. The Mandli knew the Arab status. They saw it all through. So Eraj uncle says, you stand here, I'm going inside. So he comes back with Mani aunty and Dr. Goher. And he tells the Arab to repeat verbatim what he said. So to Mani aunty and to Goher, he says what he had to say, the instructions. So then the three of them go back to the east room where the women Mandli was. They talk for a while with Meramai and the other women Mandli. And since it's coming from Dara, they respected Dara. They accepted that these are words from their Baba. So they decide that, okay, we keep it for 7 days. They accept this. But at the same time, there are 3 doctors at the Samadhi as well, 3 medical professionals. And what happens if there's a dead body? The first thing that the doctor will say is, get going with it, either cremate or burial or whatever it is. The earlier the better. So this doctors, Dr. Goher, Dr. Donkin, and there's this doctor from Mumbai, Dr. Ginde. He was Bombay's top neurosurgeon. And naturally, if you are top anywhere you have your top ego as well. Right? It goes with it, with your position. So Ginde said that if you are going to keep this body, Baba's body, for 7 days, I walk out from here. Because the whole world will say that Ginde was there. And he feared that Baba's body can fester, something can happen to his body, and he didn't want anything of it, being a party to it. So he said, I will walk out. Then there is this conference going on, they reach a compromise. The compromise is twice a day the three doctors will go down, they will close the doors, they will open Baba's body, you know the chadar, open the chadar and see Baba's body, inspect Baba's body. We studied. I still remember they going inside, closing the door, and they are there 20 minutes, half an hour inside, and they come out and go and tell the mandri that it's good, the body is good, you can continue. So that's how the doctors kept going inside. They kept giving green certificate to the mandri, said you can move half a day. They kept going inside twice a day. Every day the women mandli, Meramai and everyone, they would come from the east room, they will all go inside, close the door, and there is this weeping and wailing inside. Everyone, they are crying, everybody is crying. And after a while, half an hour, 45 minutes, they would come down and come back and go inside. So you see all these things, you see all these things. Now, we all know that Mehrabad was so far away from Nagar, and there was not a tea stall. There was not a tea stall around Mehrabad, not even a tea stall. Forget the food. So for 7 days, where did the tea come? Where did the food come from? And we got a tea at Lower Mehrabad. Patri Kaka gave us the tea, and our food came from Nagar. Food for everyone came from Nagar, and they were feeding whoever came and whoever ate. So for 5 days, 6 days, the trust was feeding everyone who came there. And then they ran out of money. In those days, trust had very little money. So Saroshi is making an announcement that please, if you had Baba's darshan, please go. We don't have the money to feed you. We are through with the money. Our resources are over. So the Parsi group that had gone from Mumbai, whatever money they had, they collected and gave a purse to the mandri and said, you can feed those who are here for whatever. So a little money came from the group. So this went on and 7 days passed. So this is how it went. And on 8th of morning, 7th after Baba's body was closed, everybody went to their places wherever they had come from. 8th morning we go up and everybody had gone. So we meet Erachankal and say that we are going. The elders naturally. And Erachankal said, you are also going, everybody is gone. So we said that we have come with one pair of clothes. We wanted to stay here for 1 day, we stayed for 7 days. And you are also going to Merazat now. You are all going, so what do we do? So that's how we went and they also left. Now, Adi Irani was, last point, Adi Irani was the secretary of Meher Baba. He was sitting at the trust office. He was manning the office. And the phone calls came and the telegrams came from all over, asking Adi uncle if Baba's body was open, could they come, can they come? And imagine in those days, no cell phone, nothing. Mehrabad had no telephone. He had no clue from morning till night, 24 hours, 7, he's manning the telephone and the office. And whoever called, Adi uncle said, it's your call. You want to come, you come. I have no idea how long the body will be kept. I don't even know if the body is still open or it's already closed. I have no clue, I'm at the trust of it. So it's your call, you take your chance and come if you want to come. And that's it. So, and even those who came from India, from North India, South India, it would take them more than 36 hours to come to Mehrabad. So by and large, not many came, not thousands came. The Westerners didn't come because they had already paid whatever money they had gathered. They had paid for the mass darshan of April, May and June. Charter flights were booked, so they had paid for the plane fare, they had paid the groups. So they didn't have the money and they didn't know whether they will be able to see Baba's body ultimately. So they didn't come. So by and large, so That's how Baba's body was carved. I think we are done.